Saint Severus of Antioch. The life of Saint Severus of Antioch. Saint Severus was born in the year 459 AD in Asia Minor to wealthy Christian parents. After the death of his father, his mother sent him and his two brothers to Alexandria to receive an education in philosophy, as well in the Greek and Latin languages. Later, Saint Severus went to Belarus to study law. He did very well in his studies and he eventually returned to his hometown to work as a lawyer. Alongside his academic success, Saint Severus also grew spiritually. He fasted every day and he spent most of his nights in church. He then decided to visit Jerusalem, and there he began to have a strong desire for service and monasticism. He went to the monastery of St. Loidus in Palestine and became a monk in the year 488 AD at the age of 29. He lived alone in the desert, dedicating all of his time to worship and spiritual studies. He later had to go to the monastery of St. Romius in Palatine to stay there because of his illness. He was still hardworking in everything he did despite the sickness that he had, and he encouraged all the monks to also work hard. Many monks predicted that he will be a protector of the Orthodox faith and the Church. He became well known in all places. Many priests and monks came asking questions about the Holy Bible and doctrine. He built a monastery in Palestine with all the money he inherited from his parents, and he attracted many to the monastic life. Saint Severus protects the faith. Saint Severus refused to let the Orthodox faith be changed by all the heresies that were spreading at that time. He came out of his monastic seclusion to protect the faith. Some things that he did is write many letters in response to wrong teachings by some heretics. He showed strong opposition to the heresies and wrong teachings, and he resisted any teaching that was not from the Orthodox faith, like the Council of Chalcedon. In the year 512 AD, Saint Severus became a patriarch of Antioch. And all the things that you have heard from me among many witnesses, commit these to faithful men who will teach others also. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2. He sent a letter to the Patriarch of Alexandria, explaining and confirming his Orthodox faith, which he had received from the apostles. He also explained his rejection of the heresies. Saint Severus faced many persecutions because of his faith. Persecutions and exile. The Roman Emperor Justinian, who was in agreement with the Council of Chalcedon, persecuted all who did not agree with it. He sent for Saint Severus and tried to convince him to give up his faith. When Saint Severus refused, the emperor began persecuting him. To escape the persecution, Saint Severus fled to Egypt, where he lived for 20 years, except for a brief period where he traveled to Constantinople. While in Egypt, he continued to care for his flock, sending them letters to strengthen their faith. The emperor who ruled after Justinian also tried to convince Saint Severus to leave the Orthodox faith, but he refused. For this reason, Empress Theodora, who was also in the Orthodox faith, urged Saint Severus to escape. He returned to Egypt and stayed there until he departed. He stood firm in the Orthodox faith, and because he believed it was every Christian's duty to preserve the pure faith. The Holy Bible was his reference, and he rejected any teaching that strayed from it. Miracles and humility. God worked many miracles for the praise of Saint Severus. Out of humility, he often hid his identity and lived as a simple monk. One day, he went to pray the divine liturgy in a monastery. When the serving priest began the prayer of reconciliation, the holy bread disappeared from the altar. The priest cried and thought this was because of his sins. An angel of the Lord appeared to him and told him that it is not proper for him to offer a sacrifice when the patriarch is present. The angel pointed to Saint Severus. The priest asked Saint Severus to pray off the liturgy. As soon as Saint Severus entered the sanctuary, the holy bread reappeared, and they continued the prayers. Liturgy and departure. Saint Severus left many writings and teachings about many aspects of the faith, such as the nature of God, Christ's relationship with the Church, and the Holy Sacraments. He also translated many Syrian and Greek texts into Coptic, which helped spread the true faith. Saint Severus gave us an example to follow. He stayed firm in the faith and defended the truth. Like Saint Severus, we are called to know and to be firm in our Orthodox faith, to preserve it and lead others in love, peace, and service. Pope Severus departed the Lord in Egypt on the 14th day of Mesher in the year 538 AD. He was buried in a monastery west of Alexandria. Our Coptic Church commemorates him in the Divine Liturgy and celebrates the following three feasts for him. 1. His coming to Egypt on the second Pope, October 12th. 2. His departure on the 14th Misher, February 21. And finally, 3rd. His burial in the monastery on the 10th Koyak, December 19. May the prayers of Saint Severus be with us all. Amen.